guys, and welcome to Unfiltered Football. Once again, welcome to our podcast. Before we go any further, can I just ask you to hit the subscribe button and press the like button and follow us as well on all the social media. We are on all the social media platforms on TikTok, Instagram, as well as YouTube. On YouTube, where you can find the full podcast. And on today's episode, we will be talking about the African tournament, AFCON. With us, we have Raymond, our brother from Nigeria, and we also have Musa, regular host and guest as well. We want to talk about AFCON. Why does it seem to be a problem, and why a lot of people, especially the Western countries, the European countries, when they have their own European tournaments, going on, whether it's every 2 years or every 4 years, we have in other places. But when is the African tournament, it seems to be a problem, and teams don't either want to release the players. The players don't want to go sometimes, and you have the leaders of the FAs causing problems and on all this. So, is there a problem with AFCON, or what is it? So, Raymond, you first.
Yeah, actually, AFCON actually fall in between the second phase of the March time, which is after the first starting of the season, and like the second time. And most of the times, if you check, most teams have quality or one or two African players that surely dominates the teams. And these coaches don't want those players to go. Like, take for instance, let's take about Watford now, from Emmanuel Dennis from Nigeria now. I think he's the highest goal scorer for Watford right now. And he's actually on form. What I was reading the other day, it was actually Nigeria Football Association, NF, that actually made the mistake, because I know before you call a player to represent his country, you have to send a pre-calling letter. Like, okay, we want to call this player. Will this player be available for us to call? That's when the club will now, okay, he's not available, he has injuries, stuff like that, before you send the main call-up letter for the player. And according to Watford made it clear that Nigeria did not send the letter on time. I know my country, for the past 4 years, things have been very slow here. So I'm pretty sure, yes, they didn't send, because if you notice, we just sacked our coach. It's about almost a month ago. We just sacked Ghana Prot over a month ago. And they've not yet decided who to take over from there. I think we just have a caretaker for now. Nigeria did not send the letter on time to Watford. Watford has many rights to say the player won't go, because if you notice, Nigeria don't even pay their players well enough. And most of the payments come from Watford. So Dennis just really wanted to represent his country. I think this is the first time he's been called up to represent Nigeria. So he really wanted to represent his country. And if you take for instance, it's actually a pride when you call a particular player to come and represent your country. It's something you celebrate about, to come and represent your country. But at least not letting the player go makes him feel as if you're holding him captive. According to what I read, Dennis said there were some threats that if he leave the club, that what is going to happen to him. Actually, Nigeria has no right, because he has already signed much contracts with the club. So he has everything there. He's deliberating on the club. The other day, the reporter asked the player from Ajax if he will be going to represent AFCON. That is not the question you ask. That is not a question. It's just asking Maguire in his worst season if he is going to play for Europe. We all know he's going to play. It's possible. So why will you ask a player if he's going to? Why not? Even if the player sits in bench for 7 matches, once the international letter comes up, he will stand up, pack his bags, and go. He's going to do his home duty. That's his home. That's his land. He's going to do his home duty. So I don't get why you won't release a player and why you won't send the letter on time. The story is actually complicated, because we are just hearing from different sides. We don't really know the real scene behind this story. I don't really understand that.
Yeah. Musa, what do you think? And I don't know if you guys have heard about what Ian Wright he came up with a few days ago with a
Oh,
clip.
that video, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think? What about Ian Wright said, and what Raymond is saying? What's your view on it?
You know, yeah, I agree with Raymond. Basically, I feel like, obviously, I don't agree with this, but this is what I think they feel like. The AFCON is the only cup that comes in the middle of a season. World Cup, Euro, Copa America, that all comes in the summer. So you're not disturbing, you're not disrupting, you're not interfering with the season. Do you see what I'm saying? AFCON just comes in the middle of nowhere and you're taking all our African players away. And those African players are very important to our team. For example, Liverpool are on fire. Yeah, they're a powerhouse. But now Salah is going, Mane is going, you know, Kita is going. Now what? Is that if the AFCON was in the summer, Liverpool won't have this problem. So it's like you're just coming out of nowhere and taking our players. I think that's the way they see it. That's why they're annoyed. But my problem is, why are you bringing this problem now? AFCON has been going on for years.
For
No
years,
Definitely.
one,
for a very
no one
long
said it.
time.
No one said anything. So why are you talking now? That's my problem. Why are you talking now? It's never been a problem. No one's ever said anything. So why now? That's the way I see it.
I'm pretty sure before the FIFA president came into power, this stuff has been put in place for a very long time. You've met it like that. Just
Very long
go
time.
on with the process. AFCON is most of the time because of the coronavirus for last season. I think there was no AFCON during 2020. They didn't make any AFCON. It's once in a year stuff.
Yeah.
There's the Europe, there's the Copa America, and most of the time it's just January to February. And once your team get knocked out of the game, you leave, you go back to your club, report for duty again. This thing has been happening. This is the only time African have to do this. Let
So
them do what they
my
do.
question, guys, here is: do you guys think it has anything to do with racism? Because sometimes, or most people said, for example, even Ian Wright said in his video, is there was racism in there, like literally it's about racism. Do you think it has anything to do with racism, or does it play in any part in it? Musa, gone.
I don't I don't think it's 100% racism because like I said, you're taking Salah away. He's not black. He's not black. You're taking Mahrez away. He's not black. There's players you're taking away that are not black. So what I think it is,
I don't get it.
maybe part.
I didn't get it. I
Okay.
didn't get it when you said he's not black. Is maybe I misheard it.
Okay. So the thing is, yeah, you're saying, is it racism? I'm saying maybe it is, but not 100%. 50% is you're taking our important players away. Number one. Number two, Mahrez ain't black. Salah ain't black. So how can it be racism? Because when people think of AFCON, they think of black players. But
No,
Mahrez ain't
players.
black.
no,
Salah
no,
ain't
no.
black.
It's, I mean, even
Nabil
if
Fekir ain't black.
I don't
These
think
players are not black.
no. With
So,
me, I
so when
don't
you're
think.
saying racism,
That basically, once you categorize African, the general thing that goes in everybody's mind are black.
Definitely, yeah.
You get
thank you. Exactly.
everybody thinks
Thank you.
about
Yeah,
black.
yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly. But Salah ain't black.
Salah, they are not black. So this is like the very important players you're taking. Left for me, Aubameyang should have been called for AFCON December because he wasn't doing well. He should go and represent his team. But if he was in form, I wouldn't want him to go because I need him now. If you watch our match against Man City, Partey was outstanding, and I need that kind of outstanding performance in the next match again. I wouldn't want him to go for AFCON again. So I'll look at it like a 40% racist and a 60% not. That's how we classify it.
Do you think is that what you think, Musa?
Thank you. That's what I'm trying to say.
Good. Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Let me
Because
add my
it can't be 100% racism. Salah black. Mahrez ain't
And
black.
I don't think no. Here's where I disagree with you, Musa. It's not about the color of the skin when they are when we saying racism. It's not about the color of the skin. Okay, if you, for example, you get players in South Africa, for example, you've got players who are light or Western, they're white, right, or Caucasian, right? They play for South Africa. If I'm not mistaken, I mean, it's in Africa. We're talking about a continent, right? When we say racism now in this bit,
Yeah, then it's not racism. That's
and no, it
discrimination.
is. It is. Here's the thing: racism because it's in Africa now.
How
Because
you're
don't
talking about skin
forget,
color?
let me. It's not just about the skin color now. It's not. It's not about the skin color. Okay. Let me put this. You've got countries in North Africa, the Arab countries, but they are in North Africa. Okay, we're talking
Yeah,
about Libya, Tunisia, Morocco,
yeah,
um, Algeria, Egypt. Correct. You have. If we're gonna go with the skin color, I mean, in Egypt, I mean, even Morocco, you got players who are dark skin, dark skin color. So, are we going to say they can go? The one who's not black can go? When we say racism, it's not about the skin color. It's the fact that these are African. They're not Westerners. That's what I'm talking about. Now, for me, on my point, okay, I say is as you said, I wouldn't say exactly 40 or 50. I'll say probably 60 or maybe 50%, right? 50 on racism, the fact that they
that's why I said
degraded.
50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is like
I will
60
disagree
40.
with Raymond as a 40. I would say it's more
Yeah,
even 60 because they degraded it. And if you look, the main watched big international tournament is World Cup. After that, it's European one, correct? Then is either the South American or the Asian. But then Africa for the last 20 years or 10 years has improved. Why has it improved? All right. It has been getting the media attention because a lot of African players or players based in Africa who are here, most of the African players who play in African tournament, they live in or born in Europe. Correct me if I'm
Yes.
wrong. The best
Yeah.
players, right? Most of them, they either whether it's France, England, or Holland, everything.
Germany.
Now, yeah, German. Now these are best players, right? Because of these best players, the African tournament is getting the media attention. That's one. Second thing, as Musa mentioned, right? It is the fact that it's been played in the middle of the season. That is the main factor, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If I mean I was thinking about it, Alon, if they should play at the end of the season, right? Every 2 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's how the tournament is, correct? So every 2 years, you've got European tournament being played every 4 years and World Cup being played every 4 years, which they interact. They go in, they come in after every 2 years. Meaning after 2 years, we've got the World Cup. 2 years later, we've got the European.
European.
So, right? After 2 years, then we got the World Cup. So when is the African Cup going to come in? The way they have no slots. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? The only way, maybe it's just an opinion, they have to change the slots. Am I correct? And that is going to mean African players who will qualify for World Cup, they will have to play every year, play in every tournament. Do you get it? Do you get what I'm trying to say, guys? You have
Yeah.
European players, let's say France, England, Germany, Italy. They 2 years they will play in European, 2 years they're gonna play in World Cup because these countries they regularly or most of the time qualify for the World Cup. But we have African, they're not gonna get the media outlet, people to know what's going on, everything. So they're not gonna get the exposure. Correct? So if that's when they're making it in the middle, which I think is wrong. I literally think for them is wrong. They should move it to summer. So they have to find a way where they have to play in the summer when there's no World Cup, there's no European. But when that happens, what's going to happen is African players will have to play every year as well, or every 2 years. They will not have that rest on certain season. That is one. Secondly, all again is all about money. World Cup European get big sponsors from around the world, big giant sponsors. They don't when African Cup of Nation don't get the same amount of sponsors as these big two tournaments. When in the World Cup you have big players all around the world. Europe, you have big players around Europe. When Africa, you do have big players, but not as much as Africa. I mean, not as much as a European tournament. Also, another thing, when it makes people say racism and think, okay, what is going on? We played Euro 2020. We had it in different countries around Europe, correct? Different countries, as Ian Wright said. Nobody spoke about coronavirus and everything. The fans were allowed. Now, African Union is about to be played in one country. Suddenly, is people are thinking about coronavirus. Suddenly, they start thinking. I was reading an article in Daily Mail. My bad, Daily Mail. Okay, that is all about terrorism. They're talking about there's a war, government, and there's rebels and everything, that the mascot have to wear bulletproof and all of that. We can say the same thing happened in when Arsenal were playing Chelsea in the European tournament in the final. People were saying it wasn't safe. People are saying some part in Europe is not safe. So when they bring things like that, of course, everybody's going to say it's racism. And I hope you guys agree what I'm trying to say and you understand what I'm trying to say. Musa?
Yeah, I've got 2 points to make. How much time do we have? Enough time left?
I didn't check it, but
the first point I want to make is you see Qatar World Cup. It's going to happen in the winter. There's backlash already. Everyone's against it. Okay, and that's black, white, everything, Asian, everything. So, is that racist?
To me, two again. Now, seriously, because at first they brought up all about human rights things, about they do this or they do that, this and that. Okay, that Qatar brought to the World Cup and all that. Come on, look at Russia. Is there human rights similar to the UK and other places? I mean, no. Well, they said Russia bought it. I mean, I don't agree it being in winter, okay? But the first thing, they don't accept it that is being played either in Africa or Asian countries like Arab countries, okay? They're not. If it was in the summer, believe me, if it was in the summer, there would have still been backlash. Don't forget, even Russia had the backlash. Correct me if I'm wrong. Russia had problems. But now with Qatar, it's going to be two problems. The fact that it's been played in winter, and it's going to be the same as now with the African Cup of Nations. Let's see what's going to happen. And at that time, when that happens, I want to see if the people are going to ask players, are they going to represent their teams, or are they going to go to play in the World Cup?
I'll be waiting for that question from any reporter.
Go on, Musa.
Oh, so my last point is, Ian Wright said no one was worried about COVID in the Euros. That's what he said, yeah? The problem is, though, that argument is a bit flawed. I'll tell you why. There was no vaccine and there was no Omicron. The cases are rising, bro. There's a new variant. Since then, we've had the South African variant and now Omicron variant. Of course people are going to care now with COVID. Back then, we didn't care because it was dying down and the vaccine was coming out. Now we care because the cases are rising. I work in a hospital. All my patients are COVID now. I'm so used to it. All my patients are COVID. In the summer, I would have one patient every 2 weeks. That's COVID. And now look, every patient is COVID. And I do 12 a day.
Okay, with that, what I say is,
so that argument about no one said anything about COVID in the Euros, that's because it was low. Now it's high. It's winter. It's different.
More cases are coming in.
More
Say that
cases are
again,
coming
Raymond?
in, and countries are becoming more strict. Germany,
Yeah.
Austria. Have you seen their rules now? It's a lot more strict. No one says anything.
I mean,
We are saying something.
don't forget that I mean, if I don't want to get into the COVID discussion with everything, I mean, I can say the first COVID was more severe than now. We spoke about it early on. Now you might have COVID, you might even know. And
But
before,
that's before Euros.
people were panicking.
That's way before
Even in
Euros.
Europe, even in Europe was in the summer, wasn't it? People were panicking like when they had COVID, but now it's like we got COVID. Yeah, I had it. Yeah, I'm isolated. It's not that. I mean, they're okay with it. I mean, and believe me, I mean, in Africa, all right, most of the people who are gonna go to Africa, okay, I mean, it's gonna be probably Africans, right, for the African Cup of Nations. In Africa, life is
Yeah.
carrying on as usual, as normal. I've got families there in East Africa. Life is normal. It's carrying on as normal. They're going to events and everything, literally right now. Whether there's an
Yeah.
event and
True.
everything. Now, I mean, it's
True.
starting in 9th of January. It's not going to make difference. You have people in other countries having big events in here and everything. They have the vaccine now. They literally have the vaccine. So it's not, I don't think we should blame. I mean, when we speak about the virus being all this and that, I just think it's just to look for excuses to add it up. But the main point for
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
I would say is regarding the fact it's the timing. Because of course, I mean, I employ somebody and that he's going to leave when I need him most. Of course, I'm going to get upset. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's basically the main point
Yeah.
about it.
And the
About
second way,
why all this argument.
yeah, the second is sponsors and money. That's all I would say. And I would think we're going to wrap it here. And thank you again to Raymond. And thank you to Musa. And until then, and I think we logged it. And don't forget to join us. Subscribe to our channel, please. And until then, see you again.